About 10 years ago now, I was diagnosed with a type of kidney disease called FSGS, and it was discovered just during a routine physical exam from my doctor. I, shortly after that, had went to a facility in Minnesota at Fairview to be evaluated and tested to be put on the kidney donor list, because that would be the only alternative to being placed onto dialysis. And for me, because of the state in which my health was at the time, and because of the blood type I had, I would be on the longer side of waiting for a kidney.
Well, I mean, I knew Teresa needed a kidney. I knew she was going to need a kidney at some point, years ago. And, you know, I told her then, when that time comes, I will be willing to be tested for you.
I began to feel really kind of worried and nervous about the situation. I felt a little bit like time was running out for me. And I remember one night sitting down, yes, I had a little pity party for myself, and I had a little talk with God, and I said, God, I know you love me, and I know, and you know that I love you, but I want you to know I'm just giving this to you. I am not in control of the situation at all, and I am giving all of my worry and my concern to you, because I know you have a plan, and if it is for me that I have to do dialysis, or I have to get really sick or suffer, it's all gonna be okay, and I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do whatever you want me to do. And no kidding, within 30 minutes later, my friend Melissa was calling to tell me that she had just received word that she was officially accepted to become my donor.
You're talking about somebody's life here. And I don't know, as that got closer and that, you know, the paperwork went in and they called back and said, you know, it looks good. You know, all your medical stuff passes. They sent the DNA test. I did that, sent it back. And then they called back and said, you know, as long as you're healthy enough, unless we find something, you know, just crazy here, you can give the kidney. But you just start thinking things like, you know, I've never had a major surgery in my life. I've had a bunion removed. You know, it's like, it was scary. I mean, it was like you start thinking, it's like, am I at peace in my life? There's some things I need to figure out here. I'm gonna be going under the knife. And that night, some sort of peace, it was like God rested his hand on my head, and the fear, all of it just went away. You know, surgery was on June 25th. We had the surgeries, and it was successful. And I'll never forget my mom and dad and my sister coming up to my room saying, oh my gosh, you aren't gonna believe it when you see her face. You aren't gonna believe it. There's color back in her face, it twinkles back in her eye. And I remember the transplant team telling me that it's amazing how quick you see that kidney goes to work. And I just couldn't wait to get down there and see her, you know. And so we got discharged from the hospital, went home, and this for me is really where I think God knew exactly what he was doing. And I ended up having a pretty serious complication. It's very, very rare. It's very rare. It's like 1 in 2,000 people this happens to. It really gave me a lot of time to think, because I didn't feel like doing anything. Just giving up control and going, it's you know what, God loves me. He's gonna take care of it. It doesn't matter what happens to me. It doesn't matter what happens. He's gonna take care of it. He's gonna take care of me. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't have to be this control freak. He's got it all figured out. And wherever that path leads me, I'm gonna be okay. And I've never felt that way before. My husband and I have been talking about wanting to find a church for months, but you know, that just didn't take priority. And I just felt compelled. And I'd heard so many great things about Red Cedar for years. And we decided it was gonna be Red Cedar. To be honest, going to church at Red Cedar is the first time in my entire life that I have looked forward to going to church. It is. I remember we walked through the doors and someone was there shaking your hand and smiling at you. It was just comfortable. It was accepting. I remember the first evening during worship, just looking around, and you could really see that there were people from all walks of life that felt loved and accepted by their church. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Saturday night and people are, there's hundreds of them. And we started going to church here, and it has changed our lives. I mean, God has changed my life. I've got a second chance at life again. My husband loves Red Cedar. He was when we were baptized a couple weekends ago. And he stood up in church, I think it was the 22nd of December, and gave his life to Christ for the first time. I mean, just unbelievable things have happened in our lives. And
I always hoped and wished and prayed that she would feel the way I do, how I'd feel at peace about knowing the Lord, that, to have a relationship with Him, and how I just so wanted that for her.
All those things that I tried to fill my, the void in my heart and my soul with, it's like that has been absolutely removed for me. I couldn't be that person if I tried, and I'm being completely honest with you. It's just, ask her, she knows. It's just gone.
I could go through this experience and share with others that God is always there for you. He's always in your corner. He loves you more than you could ever imagine.